you, John.
No,
Okay. I guess indiscriminate, just by definition, means without discrimination. It means not deliberate, not careful. I'm just wondering, and I think my colleagues are trying to get at this, why insist that the intent is there to minimize civilian casualties when the president himself said yesterday that Israel is bombing indiscriminately?
Sometimes in war, and again, I'm not speaking for the Israelis, sometimes in war, your best plans, your best execution of those plans doesn't always go the way you want it to go, doesn't always go the way you expect it to go. We know that from bitter experience in our own military. No matter how precise and targeted we tried to be in Iraq and Afghanistan, there were times when we caused civilian casualties as well. That's one of the reasons, MJ, that we sent a couple of military advisors over there, some senior generals who had experience in that kind of urban warfare, to talk to the Israelis before they moved into Gaza, to help them learn from our own mistakes. So sometimes in war, the best laid plans just they don't get executed exactly the way you want, and unfortunately, civilian casualties result.
So you're saying they are trying their best
I'm saying,
to
as I've
minimize civilian casualties, but in practice that is not what you are seeing happen?
I'm saying that there is a clear intent by the Israelis, an intent that they have admitted to publicly, that they are doing everything they can to reduce civilian casualties. I'm saying, and I have said earlier, that we are seeing them act on that intent in positive ways, and I just went through a couple of details on that. Airstrikes, for instance, have reduced since they've started to move more towards the south. They have relied less and less on airstrikes and more on ground troops, which allows you to be more precise. So they have taken measures to act on that intent. But as I said in my opening statement, results really count, and we're still seeing some civilian casualties. So we're still going to talk to them about doing everything they can to reduce that.
So you're saying both things are happening. In some ways, they are acting on their intent to be more careful, be more deliberate, but on the other hand, they are still bombing indiscriminately.
We know they have the intent. We know they're acting on the intent. Civilian casualties continue to happen. And again, we're going to keep urging them to reduce those.
What's the tipping point for the president that prompted him to make these remarks and warn about Israel losing their national support?
This has been a message we have consistently conveyed to Israeli counterparts since the early days of this conflict, mostly through private channels, but we have talked publicly about this. You've heard Vice President talk about it. You've heard Secretary Austin talk about it out at the Reagan Forum. You heard Secretary Blinken talk about it in his last, now third trip to the region. This is not a new message.
We hadn't heard the president talk about it. Was there something specific that prompted him to himself speak out about this?
The president is concerned, as he said he's concerned, about the need to reduce civilian casualties. And certainly he's concerned. As a friend of Israel, he's concerned about Israel not losing international support and public opinion for what they're trying to do. That comes from a lot of respect and affection for Israel, and wanting to make sure that that Israel has what they need to go after Hamas, and they have the support that they need to do that over time.